In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male.
What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the comments, my brothers and sisters. A couple of weeks ago, Anthony Mackie did the Pivot podcast. I already did one video on a comment that he made. This is another comment that he made that I think is worth every podcast doing a commentary on. I saw Joe Buttons do one on his podcast. I think the Breakfast Club may have highlighted, but Anthony Mackie said for over the past 20 years, there's been a death of the American male. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that clip. I'm gonna do my best to hold my commentary to the end. I have a couple of different videos that I'm gonna display in this particular episode. So if I seem like I'm going a little slow, it's because I'm trying to get each video in, because each video has a different point. But let's jump into his comment, because that'll set everything else off. All right, let's go.
In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about it.
I'm sorry. So he said the death of the American male. He didn't say the death of the American black man, white man, or Asian man. He's talking about the American male. So salute to all of my American males, to my brothers out there. I salute every single one of you. We are all in this together, but let's keep going.
But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
God bless that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world. You jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing.
Yo, so Anthony Mackie just, he dropped a bomb. Because I gotta totally agree, and there's so many different points here. He talked about being a father raising sons. So I want to talk about the death of the American male from the perspective of raising a son. My wife and I still have a 17-year-old at home. And I remember, I think a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last year, one of these school years, he came home and he said that his science teacher, English teacher, one of these teachers came to school and said that publicly that they no longer identify as he or him. They had to say to the teacher, called the individual them or something like that. They, something like that. Changes pronoun. And so when we start talking about the death of the American male, I believe that America is pushing an agenda to divide and conquer. Let me say that. I have no problem with anyone's sexuality. Whatever you're going to do in your home is your home. But I am raising our son our way. And as a parent, I get that right. No one gets to tell me how I get to raise my kids in my home. My brothers, and you understand this. My sisters, you understand this. You get to raise your kids in the way and manner that you see fit. When we look at TV, a couple of weeks ago, I saw Dwayne Wade doing an interview. I think he was hosting the Jenner Show. And he's sitting there with certain hand gestures and different things. And I don't know his background. I know that he's married to Gabrielle Union. But so I get what Anthony Mackie is saying. Media is pushing this agenda that there are certain things very acceptable, which tries to minimize the effect of us raising our young boys. And make no mistake about it, the one thing that we need in this day and age is young men to grow up and be young men. Again, he said that he's teaching his sons how to respect women. You open the door for women. You open the door for your mother. Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again here on the podcast. I instructed our son that when he is in the car with his mother, he is to make every single attempt to get from his seat around to her door to open her car door. If I'm driving and she's in a passenger seat, he is to make every attempt. If I'm delayed at doing something, to get around to the car and open her car door. If she is walking to the front door, the back door, the side door of our home, his responsibility is by any means necessary to get his handle on that doorknob before his mother gets her hand on that doorknob. Why? Because I am raising a young man. And I need him to understand, and I told all my sons this, as tough as you think, as tough as I may be at times, as strict as I may be at times, I am doing it from a place of love. When you get out into this world, there's no one or nothing that's going to love you the way your parents love you. And going into all these different school systems that my wife and I have went into, they are undermining effective parenting. So yes, I have to agree with Anthony Mackie 1000%. I do believe that America is pushing some sort of agenda to remove the male influence in society. I get it. There are some men that have abused power for decades. For decades. I get it. I totally get it. I grew up in the era, I guess, where people had to suppress certain things. I don't know. But I grew up in the era where my parents didn't give a whole care to about how I felt. And so now what we're seeing is a bunch of people being raised with how they feel. If I'm 50, I'll be 54 in August, y'all. And the one thing I can tell you is that my feelings lie to me all the time. There's times where I get up and I don't feel all that great. I may have a moment of anxiety, a moment of freaking depression. I gotta shake myself. I gotta talk to myself. I gotta get in the mirror and remind myself, like my wife says, you is important. You is valuable, from the movie The Help. Anyway, sorry, that stuck in my head. You is kind. You is important. Anyway, there are times where I have to remind myself of these things. So if I myself have to do, why would I not pass that down to my son? I don't want my son coming home thinking that it's okay to call. Listen, once our kids leave the household, they can do what they want to do. But as long as you're in this house, as long as you are a parent, yeah, you are required to do it my way. As a matter of fact, let me play this clip real quick. This is a gentleman. Let me just show you this real quick, and we'll come back.
Her and my kids, know what I'm saying? And I come in there and tell them, I'm not doing no more. I talk to him. Yeah. I yelled at him a little bit, though. Yeah. And I'm saying, like I was mad. But he just lying, man. He listen to his friends. He's lying, man.
We don't know exactly what happened or what. Yeah, we don't even know who Shooting talked to. Girlfriend. He said, I don't know. He said he tried to call you, I guess, and it didn't. It did. Deputy Tuning.
Ain't nobody try to call.
No, I called. So
this gentleman here, I actually did an entire clip on this one, an entire podcast on this one. You guys can go back and check that out. So this guy got arrested because his son, who is, I believe, 16 or 17 years old, came home 2 days in a row with makeup on. The mother, you can go in the video and watch it. The mother says apparently when the boy came home, the father yoked him up the way a father would do, and was mad because he told him, listen, when you get 18, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go on your own and do what you want to do. But in this house, we still have an 8-year-old that's impressionable, and I don't want the 8-year-old seeing you come home like this. Now, as unfair as that may be, as harsh as that may be, it is still right and fair because it is my house, my freaking rules. Yeah, I may be old. Yeah, I'm Gen X. Yeah, I come from a different generation. But I'm always going to side with what the parent wants in their household. There's no abuse here. The father yoked him up, disciplining himself. Disciplining his son. The son went to school the next day. Went to the guidance counselor or whoever he quote unquote trusted in school because everything acceptable in school. Back to Anthony Mackie's point of America is trying to kill off the American male. Went to school, told somebody his father smacked him around. They called the cops, and this is what you see right here is the father trying to defend himself and getting arrested for just disciplining his son. Call me wrong, call me crazy, call me whatever you want. But it wasn't like the father just came home and just started slapping him. He gave him an opportunity. The son came home one day, makeup on, clothes looking the way he didn't want in his house. So the son thought, look, oh well, I did it once. I'm gonna try it again, even after he was warned and corrected. So the second day, the father said, look, I'm gonna show you who's the man in this house. And this is my point. When we start talking, I'm very passionate about this stuff, y'all. So I don't mean to yell, but that's why I'm trying to back up from the mic because I know I'm loud already. But we're fathers, and we're doing the best that we can do financially, emotionally, spiritually, and this is not to say that women aren't doing it. That's not it. If you go through my videos, I'm always I listen. God bless every freaking mother out there. Without you guys, there would be no us. So this is not to say that women don't do the same thing. I'm just pivoting on the point that Anthony Mackie made that America is, I believe, and I agree, is trying to destroy this thing. How can a son go to school and the cops come and and this is like the second kind of thing I've seen where a child goes to school and the parents are getting arrested for something that the child said. If I've been in this situation before, and I've had friends that have been in a situation where, as a matter of fact, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and this happened to him years ago. Same thing. Son started smoking weed, was wilding out. So he said, you gonna keep that up? He came home one day smelling like weed, got into it, grabbed his son, threw his son against the wall, blah, blah, blah. And the next day, the son goes to school and said, I got welt marks because when I got home, I was beat. Listen, I know a lot of people don't believe in disciplining that way, man. I'm not going to tell you how to discipline. I know the difference between discipline and abuse. There's a big difference. But in every single case that I've seen over the years, when I've talked to these social workers who deal with abused kids, I've talked about 2 or 3, 4 in my lifetime. Every single one has said to me, we know an abused child and we know when a child is being spoiled. In this case right here, if a child can go to school and report his parent and the parent is penalized, that leads back to Anthony Mackie's point. Yeah. Which now you're telling the father that you have no authority in his own house. I told my kids this. All of our kids are older. They're in their 30s. I'm talking about the 30-year-olds right now. You can talk to my son. I told him, I said, it's going to be my way or you can go to the highway, period. I ain't going to argue. I ain't going to fight with you. We're not going to have a power struggle. If you feel like you want to live this life your own way, go and do your own thing. Why? Because I said, I'm doing what I'm doing out of love. I'm doing what I'm doing out of freaking respect. We grew up in a freaking day and age where as a teenager, when I was riding my bike and I fell and I got hurt, my mother wasn't like, oh, my poor baby. What's wrong with my poor baby? Are you okay, baby? No, my mother said, where's the bike? My mother, Evelyn Wall, she said, where's the bike? I'm limping. My freaking blood is streaming down my leg. Blood everywhere. Got a gash in my knee. She said, where's the bike? Go get the bike. I limped back around the corner. I got my bike, came back. I came back in the house. I put the bike up. She looked at it. She wiped it down. She said, now go sit your ass down. Go sit your ass down. Granted, I'm not saying that our parents didn't cause some type of mental and emotional issues in Gen X. We get that. Gen X is embracing that. I'm embracing that. But there still are some very powerful principles that we learn. You listen, I'm not trying to baby a young man. I want him to be a man. Not no gorilla. I'm not trying to have him be a freaking a gorilla or a freaking bully. No, I want him to lead in power. I want him to lead with power and strength, but in love. I'm not going to put, I don't, too many of our boys, this is not where I even wanted to go. Too many of our sons, I thank God, listen, my wife is tough. I love her. One of the things very early on when we were dating, when I watched her interact with her kids, no nonsense. I love that about her. Because the worst thing in the world is that when you try to unite your heart, your soul with somebody, and their kids is flipping off the wall, bouncing all over the place, bouncing. No. I want to raise my sons to be respectful in life, to be dominating in life, but at the same time be able to love the woman that he chooses to love. And make no mistake about it, I have raised my sons to love a woman, to work, to provide, to care. Now, have they all done it perfectly? No, but they are hard at work. They are hard at work doing it. Hard at work doing it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I don't want to look at my son sleeping on somebody's couch, bouncing from couch to couch, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years old. I'm just trying to get myself together. And I'm not knocking nobody. I'm saying from my perspective, in my house, there has to be vision. I need there to be purpose. I need you to understand that our boys are the arrow and I'm the bow. You understand that? The sons, they're the arrows and I'm the bow. I'm going to put some stress, I'm going to put some tension, but make no mistake about it, I am aiming you in a certain direction. Our sons. And America to me does not allow parents to be the bow all the time. America wants to step in and say, hey, there's too much tension there. Ease up a little bit. No. In some cases, you got to know your child and you got to know when to apply more pressure or when to let go. Anyway, so I thought that was a good point that Anthony Mackie made. I went off on a tangent on that one, y'all. I think it was crazy. I do. Here's another gentleman talking about the Anthony Mackie thing. Check this out. He made a good point.
I have one son, and we talk every morning and every night. We FaceTime every morning. He does his protein shake with me. He does his training. But it's just, you have to, because one day the burden falls upon him to do. And I already told him, look, the bar is high, Briz, because Dad's doing big things. So you got a lot to live up to, or this shadow will be over you long after I'm gone, and you don't want that. Yeah. So raising your boys to be men is important. I'm glad he's talking this way, because if he would have talked like that 6 months ago, that movie would have been number one right now, because it was a good ass movie. Sorry, Red Hulk is good. Problem is, he tried to be politically correct and said, well, Captain America is everybody. And then he got that and he said, nope, that. And the brother came out and he's like, no, I raised my hand when I said, I'll bust your ass. Good. Welcome back, man. Welcome in the water.
That's my whole point. Listen, real quick. Again, Mother's Day is coming. I'm gonna do a whole episode for Mom. But salute. I salute you, brother. I salute you. Listen, there are times as a father, I freaking cried. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't a perfect dad. I was too hard. I was all of this as a father, yo. All of this as a dad. But looking back, I'm like, in some cases it worked. In other cases, it did not work. But my heart was still right. And so when we start talking about the death of the American male, yes, y'all remember this? Check this. Y'all already see, this is the era I grew up in right here. When we talk about the death of the American male, I grew up like this. Home Improvement. Men being men. As silly as this was, as crazy as this is. As crazy as that was the era we grew up in. I watched The Cosby Show. I watched freaking Cliff Huxtable, Claire Huxtable, All in the Family, the Jeffersons. We grew up in good times. We grew up in an era where we were looking at freaking families. There was a mother, a father, and it was no other agenda. This is not to exclude anybody. It is still to say that fathers, men, males have a right. And yes, we have the responsibility of taking care of our family. And yes, at times, it may feel like we're walking this road alone. And yes, at times, the kids don't want to hear from us. And yes, I told my kids, no, I'm not your friend. I'm your father. No, you can't joke with me. You're not going to prank with me. You're not going to play around with me. No. Ask my son. Ask my sons. He don't play around. Now, I laugh and joke because I'm older now. But in my prime, no, I wasn't laughing and joking with anybody. So I just want to say yes. And we do have to hold up a standard against what America is trying to promote. Again, it's us and it's for what you believe that your household represents. If your household, if you want listen, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union have their own household. I'm not bashing them. God bless them. I applaud them as a young black couple doing their thing. But I don't agree with their beliefs, with what they allow in their home. I don't fully agree with it, and that's just because I'm me, how I was raised. Yes, it is too many young men, especially in the African American community, are out and about smoking weed in the Hispanic community, doing God knows what, because there is not enough of a male presence. I'll be the first one to tell you, I did not grow up with a biological father's fingerprint on my life. I had a biological father and a stepfather. I've been through this on many, many episodes, and I probably am going to revisit it because I got a Father's Day episode swirling around in my brain. So I'll talk more about it then. But I don't have a I'm proud of you, son moment with either one of them. And it's not to bash them. They had their own lives. They had their own issues. It is what it is. I'm not crying over it at this point. I just didn't want to pass that down to my sons. But most definitely, they are the arrows and I was the bow. And listen, I wanted to create as much tension on that bow as possible so that when they get to a certain age and they're released, they're flying straight, flying high, achieving what they have to achieve with good character, great morals, not running the streets, not damaging other people, not damaging women, not damaging more kids, not carrying the same curses that I had to get over and overcome even now at 53 years old. Yes. If we let America tell us what to freaking do, none of this will be here no more. So I got to salute Mr. Mackie on this one. Was I wilding today, y'all? I don't know. Anyway, let me know what y'all think about this episode. If I'm way off basis, if I'm in point. I saw recently Jaden Smith with this right here. And then Pharrell. I get it. Maybe it's a generational thing. Brothers, for those of you in the Gen X era, you tell me. Maybe it's and I'm not saying that to love. I'm not saying that to love or the thing's not acceptable. But maybe it's, listen, this dad who got arrested, he said, I got another son I'm trying to raise. You can't do that, right? Listen, when you get 18, listen, you can go out on your own and establish your house. But right now, this is in my house and I don't want it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't necessarily. Anyway. All right, y'all. I'll be back with another episode real soon. Thank y'all for all the love, all the support. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this video. I'll be back with another one real soon. All right? Peace.